Okay, folks, welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. As always, today we're doing another live reaction video here, and then we're going to be watching another YouTuber who some of you might recognize. Definitely not a person I like very much, and that feeling, of course, is mutual. But we're going to be kind of reacting to a video today he did where he's reviewing a watch that he got as a gift, and I just want to give you guys my live reaction, doing more of these kind of live reaction videos, and to kind of get like dialogue going, to hear you guys talk in the chat or see you guys respond in the chat. So we'll just give it a few minutes. I'm going to kind of bear with me while I learn how to use this software. I'm looking at a participant list, and I believe this is streaming right now. So if you do join the stream, please let me know that you're in the chat. Because right now I don't see anybody in here, and so I don't know. I'm hoping that this is actually live. So just kind of, work with me here until I figure this whole thing out. What I'm going to do is play his video, and again, we're going to react to it. So we'll give it a few minutes. I'm going to see if I can see if this is actually live on a different screen here. And we'll just kind of work together and go from here. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. So I got two mix in the chat. That's kind of cool. Now I can see who's popping in here. So we'll give it a few minutes. Maybe a minute to get people in here. So we're going to be, again, reacting to the watch we're going to look at today is called the Vaer watch. I think I'm saying that right. It's V-A-E-R. And this is a reaction video to another YouTuber's review. This other YouTuber is what I'll definitely, obviously, the title of the video today is about watch snobs. And this is the epitome of a watch snob. Almost like a fake watch snob, really. Just because you acquire one luxury or two luxury watches, it doesn't make you a watch connoisseur. It doesn't make you a watch expert. It doesn't make you somehow have a better skill set at determining quality with watches. So hopefully get more people in here. It is a Saturday. Usually Saturdays are kind of hit or miss. So we'll see what we get. So, again, 2Mix, I see that you're in the chat. Oh, there you go, man. Your content is cool. Thanks, man, for letting me know here. I have this little window I can kind of pop back and forth. And hopefully you guys can see, or you will be able to see the actual live chat as well. I know you guys see it. I think you guys can see comments. Gosh, I'm not sure what you guys see, actually. So we'll see. I'm going to kind of decrease my screen size here, and you'll see what I'm looking at. There we go. So some of you might recognize this individual here. This is another YouTube channel. We're not going to give credit to the name of the. Normally normally I will link to another YouTuber's account, but we're just not going to do that today with this particular individual. Cool. Well, at least we got one person in here. Hopefully we get more. It is kind of hit or miss on Saturdays, so that's cool. So, 2Mix, you can, I guess you're watching this. You can. Some people are watching. Some people watch and some people listen. I assume you can see the actual live chat screen on here as well. I wonder if I probably screwed this up when I went ahead and started this live stream before having, see if I can find something here. Bear with me a second here. It looks like it is live. So that's good. Let me just make a few changes here. This program I'm using, you can do the streaming through this other app, but you can't make, at least I don't know how to make like actual video changes, like keywords and stuff. So we're just gonna see if we can make a few changes here while this is playing. Sorry, man. I know you're just like sitting here waiting for me to begin, but I just definitely want to try to see if we can make sure this is working properly before we begin here. All right, man. Well, we only got, I guess people are just going to have to get this on the rerun. All right, so let's start this video here. We'll just kind of see what happens and play it by ear. I'm probably doing something wrong here in how this gets pushed out to my subscribers. So, all right, so again, this is a video review of a Vaer watch, and we're just going to begin here, and who we get is who we get in here. All right, so let's go.
What's going on, guys? I hope you have missed me. I know it has been a long time since I've made a video. I don't even know if anybody's going to watch these videos. Today, if you're not advertising on YouTube, you're not getting any views. But hey, check this out. I did get a new watch. It's not a super expensive one, but it is a little pricey. But let me tell you something, and listen to this. That's nothing bad with the watch right there, but that's just me getting angry. We got a lot to talk about on today's video. I hope you enjoy. All right, so here we are checking out.
All right, so first off, I just want to state that the comment that if you're not advertising, you're not getting views on YouTube. That's not true at all. YouTube algorithm is basically people, YouTube algorithm in a nutshell determines how many views you get, how your videos get pushed based on popularity. So obviously, when you compare my channel to some really, like Philion's a guy that I like to watch a lot, right? So his channel, I mean, he gets like 300 people on live chats. I mean, he's just killing it, making a shit ton of money. Obviously, his channel, people like to watch him a lot more than me, and so you're gonna get more folks popping into live feeds. You're getting more people viewing your content. If YouTube sees that more people are watching for longer duration and they stick around, they're going to push your content more. So advertising, honestly, in my opinion, just doesn't really work on YouTube. It's not real, like, true organic growth. You know what I mean? Sorry, I just want to get this chat out here, folks. Do this here. Bear with me here. That's not what we want to do. Where did the chat go? Somehow we lost our chat, folks. I don't know if you guys can... Oh, there we go. Hang on. Man, I tell you, learning how to use a new program is kind of a pain in the butt. Even though we only got one person in here right now. Oh, Adrian popped in. What's up, man? Cool. Oh, yeah, I hope we get more people kind of popping in here during this video. Let me just check one more thing, guys. Sorry. All right, we got 2 people in here. All right, all good on the audio. Like I said, folks, bear with me while I kind of learn how to do this. All right, so continuing on here.
This Vaer watch that I got. Now, I actually have a lot of bad things to say about it. I do wear it pretty much as a daily wearer right now. It's kind of what I've been rocking every day. I do like that it is using that Seiko movement of just using the sunlight to keep it going, so you're never going to have to worry about that battery. But they're not telling you that in the advertisement, okay? They're not telling...
All right, 2 Mixes said, is that me? No, that's not me. That's the other YouTuber. No, that's definitely not me. That's another YouTuber who's reviewing this Vaer watch that he received as a gift, and I want to critique this video.
Telling you, hey, we're using a Japanese movement in the advertisement. They're shooting to you that everything is 100% United States built.
All right, so that's not true at all. First off, about this watch, I'm not going to throw the website up here because I don't want to make this worse here for you folks watching this. But Yeah, they clearly state on their website under from all the listings that I saw that these are assembled in United States. And actually, just since we're shit, man, I'm just gonna pull this up here. Their watches, and you guys can Google this on your own, of course. And I think I'm saying that right. Vaer watches. Let me just find the watch. I believe this is the watch he's reviewing here. And let's see here. Yeah, I think this is the one. God, I hate these pop-ups. It is sold out, so it is a popular watch. All right, so it clearly states on their website that it's American assembly. Now I noticed that each watch that they sell, it'll have like slightly different descriptions on there. So like this particular one says American assembly. This other one, the D5 Meridian, says Japanese automatic movement, and then American assembly. I think this is the one he's reviewing here. And if it is, he doesn't actually tell us the model number, but if it is this watch, it sure looks like it. 660 feet of water resistance. It sure looks like it's not a cheap watch. Like they have it listed on here for $629, which I mean is quite a bit of money for a watch. If you want to get it in the 39 millimeter size, it's actually more. It's $699, and it looks like it's sold out at the moment. So, all right, continuing on here.
Now, that was kind of the thing that jumped me to it. I was like, oh, you know, and I've been really busy lately. I haven't been doing the watch thing as much. But just that, everything being United States built, and it's running off just the sun, I was like, that's really cool. And
so again, it doesn't state on their website that these are American built. It says American assembly, and it clearly states here Japanese automatic movement. Now the one he's referring to, that's what's a little confusing. They have several of these watches that look exactly the same. Let me see if I can actually find this specific watch, because they all are very similar. Let's see if let me see movement. Let's see solar. All right, here we go. Let me kind of click solar and see which one he's. God, they have so many here. D4. This one here. This might be the D4. All right, so again, D4. But my point is that all their watches on their site, they state American assembly. On the very top of their menu here, we have watches, straps, accessories, company, and then USA assembly. It's very clear that these watches are not built. There's nothing stating they're made in the USA. So I'm not sure where he's getting this.
And I asked for it for my birthday, and it was given to me for my birthday.
That's pretty nice. It's always nice to get a gift for your, for any holiday or birthday. I always find, I think the more watches you have in your collection, sometimes it gets kind of difficult to remember when you, like, what particular birthday, or if you're a watch collector like myself, we have over 450 watches. You get a lot sent to you, but also you buy watches, and then when you get some for your birthday, I can remember if I got a watch as a gift or not. I don't specifically remember if it was like Christmas or birthday, but for the most part, yeah, it's always cool to get a watch as a gift. For anybody who likes collecting watches, it's just awesome.
Then boom. It's my birthday, I'm unpacking things, and I'm getting it. I'm like, wow, this is cool. I'm going to get the watch, Oh, wow, look at this. Oh, wow, you get the tags, and you get all this stuff, and you're flinging and flanging stuff around. And I turn, and I get the watch on, like, the rubber strap or whatever.
All right, so I'm detecting, like, some disappointment here. I don't know, man. If I get anything as a gift, like generally, well, here's the thing: if you're gonna, as the gift receiver, I think it's pretty important to at least let the person know what you like, especially if most people aren't just gonna buy you a gift completely like unsolicited. For instance, when Christmas is coming around, me and my sister and my family, my mom and sister are a little easier to shop for because they'll use the Amazon list. They'll add things on there that they want, so there's no disappointment there. But generally, I don't, like, my mom or sister wouldn't just go out and randomly buy me a watch. So I find it hard to believe that there wasn't some kind of conversation here with this particular watch. I'm sure that, his family just didn't go out and just say, oh, I'm just going to randomly pick out a watch for him. He probably mentioned that he wanted this. So, but already the disappointment, and I feel like anytime that you receive a gift from somebody, like, I mean, it's pretty rude to be disappointed, right? But anyway, moving on.
And I'm like, well, that's like whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm like flinging and flanging, and I'm like shaking things around. I'm like, oh, okay, well,
I'm not sure where the fling and flang is shaking things around. Like, it's like, is this guy a child? I mean, a grown adult is gonna. I'm all for excitement. Don't get me wrong. Like, I get excited to unwrap a gift, and I may joke around and be like a kid on Christmas morning. But like, I mean, I don't. I mean, who does that as a grown man, right?
oh man, like, oh, like, oh man, like, whatever, oh, you know, like, oh.
This guy needs to see somebody. If you're getting all tweaked out because you're trying to figure out a watch. I mean, I'm just a little confused by this behavior.
I'm like, okay, well, like I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, where's this? Where's this from that commercial? Because in the advertisement, this is in that commercial.
Well, so I'm a little confused here. So this is the advertisement he's referring to. They do show on...
And they certainly don't tell
there.
you in the...
They'll show it again. So for one split second, they showed the watch on Bracelet, but the guy's holding the watch on the rubber strap. I assume it's rubber. So I'm not sure where one would be confused by that.
Commercial that you're not getting this.
I mean, that's pretty clear to me. Like, most of this, let's just play it again.
If you buy the product, you know? And I'm digging around, and I'm like, oh.
So, I mean, that's pretty clear. Like, they're advertising the watch, and he's holding it on the rubber strap, and it's being shown on the rubber strap. So I'm not sure why one would expect to get it on the bracelet, but we'll address that, I guess.
Oh, maybe it's in this. Like, oh, maybe it's this. But I remember picking this up, and it was so light. You know?
All right, so there's the bracelet, but he's also holding the rubber strap.
And I'm looking at the lady, and you can't, like... So.
I think he means the lady. I'm not sure. He must be looking maybe his girlfriend. No, I'm not sure on that. I don't think he's referred to as... I'm looking at the lady.
I'm like, what
mom.
the is this? And
oh, dude, that's really terrible, man. Somebody buys you a gift, and you're like, what the fuck is it? And this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to, like, the watch snob. I mean, only a snob, arrogant, pompous prick would receive something as a gift, and especially something that's not even... Like, it's not even cheap. Like, this isn't like a Temu special. Like, this is an expensive watch. And to be like, what the fuck is this? I don't know. I'm looking at their website. To me, it's very clear you have options. It comes with, it looks like a couple straps. I couldn't imagine myself reacting this way to a gift. I mean, even if, like, you were completely... I understand, like, maybe if you want it on bracelet. You folks know I'm a bracelet watch guy. And I got the, you know... I don't know, maybe a conversation, maybe just being like, oh, shoot, you know, it didn't come with the bracelet. I don't know. I think there's a better way of addressing that. Or just go buy the bracelet yourself, right? I don't know. That's just kind of rude.
And I'd like, you know, shut that. And I'm just like, oh, you know, thanks.
Oh, dude. That's...
And then, you know, it's just other stuff you got to buy.
Oh, man, that's awful. Like, you're pretending to be excited. It's like maybe whoever... I highly doubt this brand, from a watch collector like myself, who's pretty well versed in the different brands out there. Like, I've never even heard of Vaer until this video. And so I can't imagine that his family just, or his mom, or whoever bought this for him, just randomly went to some website and just bought him some random watch. Like, there was obviously a conversation there, and he didn't mention that he wanted it on bracelet. I mean, but, dude, like, how... I feel bad for the person who bought this for him, like, because they're going to see this video. It's one thing to maybe feel that and then be like, oh my God, I love this, thank you so much, and then just go out and buy, like, the bracelet, you know what I mean? I mean, big deal. You got to spend, like, $100 to get a bracelet. I mean, you can find so many bracelets out. I just can't believe that reaction. That's just terrible.
It's something.
What do you think, chat? I mean, obviously, Adrian, he pops in a lot on these things, pompous prick. Yeah, man, absolutely. That's just such a rude thing to do. You know, I remember back in the day, this girl I worked with years ago, like 20 plus years ago, and I've always been to watch collecting, right? But she got me this really inexpensive, like $10 watch. Yeah, I don't wear it, but I do have it still in my watch box. It is part of the collection, but it's not really, you know, something that I got excited about. But I was like, my God, thank you so much for just taking the time to think about me and think about what would this guy like, right? What would Fat Cat like? You know, oh, he likes watches. Let me get him a watch. Whether that person knows anything about a watch, like, it's a gift. Like, wear it proudly. Like, I think I put it on right then and there and be like, thank you so much. You know, I just find it just amazing somebody would have this kind of reaction to the generosity of somebody getting my gift. This is exactly the watch snob. You know, it's not a Rolex, so it's like, you're disappointed.
Something else you got to buy from their store. So then I go to their store online, and I'm not seeing any of the cheaper version of the bracelet.
I'm confused on that. I'm not seeing the cheaper version of bracelets. So maybe I'm on their site now. Let me just kind of drag this over here for a second. Give me 1 second, folks. So I want to do one thing. See if I can do this here. Give me 1 second here, folks. All right, I'm gonna just share this other screen. So I want to make sure there's nothing identifying on it. All right, so here's their website right here, and hopefully you guys can see that. Like here, you clearly have the option for small or large. They show you the price. Then it says right here, free waterproof strap, FKM Tropic strap, a $40 value. That's kind of dumb because like a watch is going to come with a strap, right? It's not a $40 value. It's part of it. Dumb marketing, right? And then you can choose your custom strap. And here's the different options. You can get the khaki one, looks like the one he got. And then he has, looks like there's two different bracelets. There's a premium and then a 40. So maybe he went to the wrong, I'm not sure where the confusion lies in that. But let's see if he explains that. Let's just move on here.
That's available. They're all sold out. Well, yeah. No crap, they're sold out. Everybody's buying the more.
Let me just respond to two mixes. I'm not sure what Mix is saying here. He says, Fat Cat couldn't name any other brands like Temu, DHgate, Rolex, and Invicta. Oh, I don't know. Two Mix. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. I have Bulova. I got Citizen. I got Seiko. I got Tactical Frog, Steel Dive, San Martin. I have, what else? Addy's Dive, Nubeo, RGMT, Spinnaker, Invicta, Aragon, Boulder. What else do I got? So, I mean, a lot more than just that. You know, when you have 460 watches, you know, I mean, of course I have Temu and DHgate watches as well, but not sure what your point is. But, okay, moving on.
More cheap versions immediately because of the way it's advertised. And it's...
All right, so let's go back to this, their page. The way that it's advertised, I'm just not seeing where he's confused on the way it's advertised. He's making it sound like Vaer is doing some kind of sketchy like way of advertising. It clearly states here small or medium, large, free waterproof strap, the one he got. Choose your custom strap, and when you click each one, it shows you if it costs you more. Here's cowhide or some kind of lined Horween leather, tan, 120 bucks. Like pretty clear. Here we have solar powered movement, American assembly. Like that's pretty clear. Like it's not made in America. It's American assembly. Sapphire crystal, guaranteed waterproof. I'd be careful with that one though. Nothing's waterproof, but I like, you know, that's why they call it water resistant. But I mean, it's not the way it's advertised. Like it's pretty clear you have to buy the bracelet. So not sure how one would be confused by that. Yeah, weird.
Such a crappy way to do business.
How is that a crappy way to do business? Like the company's very clear when you purchase the watch. Maybe the person who bought this for you only had a certain amount of money to spend on the watch and they didn't want to spend an extra $40 or $70. Like, go buy it, you know?
When you're selling watches. First of all...
Oh, dude, that's terrible. He throws it like it's a piece of trash. Man, this is the last watch that this guy will ever get. I really hope whoever bought him this watch that they look at this video. What a disrespectful thing. This is a real lack of common sense, and this is a real lack of critical thinking that one could receive a gift. I mean, obviously, like my family knows I do YouTube. You know, some friends know I do YouTube. It's like, how could you, like people do watch what you're putting out there. Like, how could you receive a watch as a gift and then throw it across the table like it's some piece of garbage? Like, that's awful, man. Chad, what do you think of that? That's just terrible, man. That is just absolutely so disrespectful. Mick just said, what's the holy trinity of watches? Name the three brands. Holy trinity of watches. I don't have a holy trinity of watches. I like what I like. I like affordable watches. I would never spend money on a Rolex. I'd never spend money, even if I don't have money for a $150,000 watch, right? Like I wouldn't go finance a watch for like $2,000 a month. Rolex, I just don't find any value in what you're getting. There's so many more people. I've been preaching this for like 20 years. There's so many more people coming out the woodwork doing close-up videos. I just did a reaction video to I Like Watches. He did a side-by-side with a San Martin and a Rolex. And the San Martin clearly had better fit and finishing than the Rolex. So to me, Rolex is an overrated brand. Again, always buy what you like and buy what makes you happy. Like, I'm not here to dissuade anybody from spending their money how they want to spend it. But for me, never would I waste money on that. Now, there is one exception to that. There is a, it's called the Medusa Rolex. Most Rolex traditionists would, it would be laughable, right? It's not the traditional, but it's been totally customized. The entire Rolex is done in rubies and diamonds. And I absolutely love it. Super unique. But it's like 18 grand. I'd never spend 18 grand on a watch. I could go buy it tomorrow. I would never piss away 18 grand on a watch. Tumik said the 3 brands that are Holy Trinity AP. That's what I have to say to that, dude. You're delusional if you think that those brands are giving you some kind of insane quality difference compared to regular brand watches. Is there a difference in quality? Yeah, there's a little bit of difference in quality, but not what people make it out to be. And the fact that you even brought those up, that's the typical watch snob reaction. The Holy Trinity, AP, Patek, and Rolex, right? Who else has got there? VC. Yeah, absolutely. Some of those brands, I can't speak to the quality of Patek. Like if you open up the back, I can't speak to any of that. But I can guarantee you that for a person to look at a watch, pick it up in their hand, hold it, and say that it's worth 150 grand is just absolutely delusional. But again, if it makes you happy, buy it. Lens goes deep to say even a solid gold 18 karat gold watch, I don't see the reason to spend 100 grand. Yeah, like I can almost rationalize like a solid gold watch if you have the money to get like precious metal on your wrist. I totally get that. You're paying for the gold, but for a stainless steel Rolex, a stainless steel AP, Patek, like get the fuck out of here with that. Like, but again, hey, more power to you if you're a well-off guy, and that's something that you want. Like, who am I to tell you how to spend your money? But for me personally, I don't, very clear, most people don't have the money to spend $150,000 on a watch, right? But I can't really think like that because I would never do that. I think it's so wasteful. Len just said watches under 5K offer plenty, absolutely. And Two Mix just said Rolex is one of the best movements, in-house created, real materials, gold. So what? What does real materials do? What does gold do when you have gold center links? Like, if we're talking about fit and finishing, check out the video I Like Watches just did, comparing a Submariner with a San Martin. Like, it was clear, the clear winner was San Martin. So what are you paying for? I hear this constantly when it comes to Rolex snobs, that they're like, oh, it's so amazing, open the movement. If the watch is so amazing, how are they able to produce a Chinese copy in the $800 price point that is fooling ADs? So what are you paying for, right? Some gold? The amount of gold in a Rolex, if you're not getting a solid gold watch, is laughable for what they're charging for these watches. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. And then Two Mix, he's obviously, let's see, why waste your money on $400 watches that will cost the value of the watch, it will keep your money? No, that's not. See, that's delusional thinking. There is no guarantees that if you buy a Rolex that you're going to make money on it. People forget that when people buy a watch, like, the argument's always like, oh, it's an investment. It's not the investment. Just go to eBay and look at the thousands of Rolex watches that are for sale on there. Why would somebody buy your used, worn Rolex when they can buy a new one? Like, when you have the money to spend on a $20,000 watch, if you're not going to buy a used one for 17 to save $3 grand, you're going to buy a new one. It's laughable that this is the argument that people constantly try to make. It's not an investment. There are no guarantees. It's delusional thinking. Can you make money on a Rolex? Absolutely, you can. But that can be said with anything. Buy low, sell high. I made money on Invicta watches that I've gotten sick of, right? If I bought it low enough, granted, it's not going to be some life-changing amount of money, making $50, but it's still $50. It's supply and demand, buying low, selling high, not getting ripped off. That can be said with any product on earth. It's just ridiculous. All right, I'll come back to the chat, folks.
You're sitting there telling me that everything is 100% United States made. No, it's
not. That's not what they're saying at all. Nothing. I don't know where this guy is getting this information from. I think he's dreaming it up, because when we go to their website, it is clear. It clearly states right here, when you scroll up, USA Assembly, and if I click that, it's going to give you more information on the assembly. Right here, it says American Assembly. Right here, down at the description, it talks about, I believe it mentions down here, let's see, technical specifications, solar power. It clearly states the movement here. Like USA Assembly again, like how many times does a company have to mention that it's USA assembled for a consumer to understand it?
Not because the movement is made in Japan.
Yeah, and they clearly state that on their website.
So that's lie number one. Okay. So then then it's just like, okay, I didn't even think about that at the time, right? I didn't realize you're just getting the Seiko movement. I really did think that it's some kind of like, cutting edge American technology because
I mean, if a person thought that by looking at their website, then they obviously have some sort of critical thinking problem.
Things in my life have been incredibly difficult.
Two Mixes says it's about 5% increase per year. Wrong. Incorrect. This is overgeneralization. There are plenty of people who bought Rolex watches who can't sell them. Like, I mean, why is there thousands of Rolex watches on eBay for selling less than what retail? Like, it's just amazing to me. It's like showing people evidence and they just like believe this delusional thought process. I mean, no. See, that's the thing. Mick is saying that Invicta you lose 100% of your money. Then why am I able to sell my Invictas for more than I paid some of them, right? Why am I able to sell them sometimes and break even? That's not true at all. If you buy low and there's supply and demand, this is simple economics. Supply and demand. Absolutely. If tomorrow everybody on earth said, I hate Invicta, I'm never going to buy an Invicta again, then yeah, I'm 100% out my money. But I don't buy watches to get my money out of it. I don't buy watches as an investment. A lot of people like myself buy watches because they just enjoy wearing the watches. It's just like going out to dinner. I'm not worried if I go on a vacation or go out to dinner. It's just something you're doing for fun. You enjoy it. Not everything that you do is looking to get money back from, right? So, and I don't need to show evidence to this guy. Like this, show me your evidence, right? You're the one making the comments that every Rolex is going to appreciate. Explain to me why there's thousands on eBay for selling less than MSRP. Like, it's just crazy to think that. Let's see here. Let's see. I just looked at very crystal clear exactly what you're getting. This is Adrian just stating, this guy's a clown who makes American quartz as well. Len Goes Deep said, I thought the value of Rolex dropped since 2021. The gray market is pure supply and demand. Absolutely. Two Mixes doesn't understand basic economics. Yep, Fat Cat does speak truth, right? I'm not claiming that people can't make money on Rolex. Absolutely they can. If you buy a Rolex watch and it becomes super desirable, like there's folks you see on like the Antique Roadshow all the time that, they'll get a watch like 30 years ago and it sat in a drawer, it was never worn, it's not all beat up, and next thing you know, it becomes a very valuable model. Absolutely. That can be said. Let me just state this. Are you better off buying a Rolex watch if your sole goal is investment? Are you better off buying a Rolex than Invicta? I would say absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's Rolex, whether I like them or not, it's an extremely popular watch. They do hold their value pretty well, but it's not a guarantee. Like there's all kinds of videos on YouTube now from Rolex experts talking about the price dropping. So it's like, it's just not true, right? This is just a delusional. This is like what Rolex owners hope are going to happen. That no matter what happens, they're going to make money in this watch. You're going to wear it, scratch the living shit out of it. I can make money. It's not the case. If you're going to buy a Rolex for an investment, one, you leave it in the box and you put it in a drawer and you don't touch it, right? You don't wear the shit out of it. So, there's other things to invest in besides a watch. It's just crazy thought. It's just crazy, man. Now Mick's saying if they did drop, buying a new one, you can get a Rolex for 8 to 10. This is all just nonsense. Like there's no. I gotta move on.
They've been incredibly frustrating lately, and I haven't had time to get into the watch hobby like I used to as much, right?
I don't know why you'd need time to get in the watch hobby. Like, I mean, I like watches. You guys know that. I collect all different watches. I'm not a luxury watch guy by any means. I never will be. Again, unless I win that Powerball, right? Get that Medusa Rolex. I will. I love the rubies on it. But, for the most part, like, you don't really need time to, like, you don't have to make this more complicated than it is. You buy what you like. You buy what makes you happy. That's it.
So, I go ahead.
We got a few more people in here now. Let me just come back to the chat for a second, see what we got here. Yes, we got Two Mix, Len, Brent, and Adrian. Thanks for joining us, Brent. kind of cool getting some new names in here. And like I said, even, I have no problem with the discussion at all. Just so you guys are clear, Two Mix isn't being disrespectful. He's just stating his opinions and nothing wrong with that. I'm going to state mine. And then I don't know if you guys, I keep moving the chat off to the side. You guys can probably see the chat on your devices, but Mixer said they were literally fakes with brands covered by stickers. That's just ridiculous, dude. I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. This is just another guy pulling shit out of his ass in order to try to, support the claim that every Rolex is an investment, you're going to make money on. It's just simply not true. Brent said if you're buying Rolex, it should be to enjoy the watch, not as an investment. And Mick just said, yes, of course, but you don't want to make sure you're buying is a complete waste, at least able to keep your value. Well, dude, that can be said with anything. Like I said, man, I paid... Two Mix is just a piece of dog shit. We might have to just block this fool. We can talk about Fat Cat's fake watches he's been showing. Dude, get the fuck out of here, dude. There's some watches I reviewed off DHgate in the past, because some of these haters on YouTube just can't stand another channel. With my collaborations, I get stuff for free all the time. They're just so friggin' jealous. When I showed any kind of watch, it's been, a homage, right, in quotes. I've always tried to go with the policy on YouTube, but there's always people out there to get you, have nothing better to do. They're just haters, jealous, Yeah, sure, I got some watches that are replicas of my collection sent to me, never purchased them. Nice to be able to see what $50 gets you for your money nowadays. And again, whoever likes a specific brand, whether it be a Rolex, whether it be a fake, a knockoff, a homage, an Invicta, an Aragon, you should always buy what you like and makes you happy. Two Mix is just a sad, pathetic little bitch. So what we're going to do with that is just say, see ya. There you go. We don't need crap like that. Now, the nice thing about it is that Two Mix can still listen to me talk shit about him. But that's it. We're not going to have people in here that's just total crap, garbage human beings. All right, so moving on. Brent, again, buy a watch because you enjoy it, not as an investment. If somebody does buy a watch because they enjoy it, at some point they decide, hey, you know what, I just don't wear this anymore, or maybe they have kids and they need money for, the college or whatever the reason, then you kind of cross that bridge when you come to it. If you decide to sell it, you absolutely can. Again, I would never have the idea that you're just going to have this, thought that I can just always make money on it and always get my money back. And I think that anytime you buy something, you should kind of, most things that people purchase, they're not worried about. Like when I buy a new TV, I'm not like, oh, can I sell it in 3 years for more? Can I get my money back? You buy it because you enjoy it. You buy it because it's going to bring some kind of enjoyment to your life and satisfaction. Of course, if you're going to buy something extremely of value like real estate, of course, you're going to want to be careful where you buy real estate and not to overpay and try to make the best decision that you're going to be able to get your money back, because real estate is one of the biggest purchases that most people are going to buy in their life, right? And so, yeah, you don't want to buy in some area where, you're going to necessarily never be able to get your money back or gain equity. But for a watch, I mean, people who are looking to buy watches, that's to me, if you're looking to buy watches as an investment, that is a poor person's mindset. You're like, oh, let me get this watch. I'm going to make money. You're trying to just make money on it. And that's why Rolex kind of controls their market a lot, because they know there are people out there buying their watches strictly to buy and try to flip them. And all that affects the price, right? So anyway, Brad said days of flippers making money on Rolex are over anyway. Absolutely. They're just online grifters. And Brent just said market has come back down to earth. Absolutely. And again, there's nothing, I don't mean it to sound like that I'm against people buying Rolex. Buy what makes you happy. But the fact of the matter is when you compare, I mean, people just don't want to see the evidence. When you look at the video I just critiqued the other day by I Like Watches, he showed side-by-side macro pictures of a San Martin and a Rolex Submariner. And it was clear that the finishing was better on the San Martin. So again, how could one start talking quality when Rolex can't even seem to get the basics right? So it's unbelievable, man. It really is. Let's see here. They cause real watch enthusiasts who want one of the watches not to be able to get them, and glad it's over. Yeah, but you never know what the future holds, right? All right, let's go back to the Vaer here. We'll come back to chatting, of course.
I get the bracelet for this thing, and the bracelet, the first thing it's doing is
poor Two Mix.
To be honest, it was blowing me away, because it has these little hooks right here, right? You just push these in. It's going to be really hard to show you, but these things See that? They push in. So they can, this thing unhooks real easy. This whole
Yeah, so those the push pins he's referring to are just like they're what do you normally call them? They call those spring bars. It's like a forkless spring bar, and the idea in that is so you can change the bracelet. I think most people know this. You can get your fingernail in there and change it without the tool. I've never really saw the fascination with this because most people who are going to change straps have a little fork tool, but you know, whatever.
bracelet will come off very easily. Now, of course, I say very easy. I'm not going to be able to do it. But the bracelet, come on. The bracelet's going to come off. Come on. It's, there we go. See how easy that is to get that bracelet off?
Yeah, it looked easy.
It comes off so easy, right? So the bracelet wasn't cheap. It was maybe, I don't know. When you're talking inexpensive
watches. So the bracelet wasn't cheap. It was maybe, I don't know. So on their site, they list it looks like $70 and $40. I don't know. That to me, that's yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that is cheap for a bracelet, considering you can get a lot of bracelets on Amazon. I mean, let's face it, stainless steel, for the most part, if it's 316, is 316 stainless steel. So when you pay more, again, you have to give each product you buy a fair shake. But I don't, I'm not sure what else to say about that.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't like the $60 cheap one that they're selling. I think this was like $100 maybe.
And it looks like the bracelet's got a different brand on it, so maybe they must maybe engrave their logo on it, and maybe somebody else makes it. I don't know. It doesn't look bad to me, Doesn't look unique though. Nothing really special about it.
It has this arrow here, like the push ones, but it also, if you look there, it has screws on it. So I'm thinking to...
All right, come back to the chat here. We have a new one, John, in here. At 20, I was able to buy a house, a Rolex AP. Well, good on you, man. Still money in the bank. I didn't waste money on 400 plus watches. Yeah, so again, that's good for you. Whatever you want to buy to make you happy. I actually own my own home, 4 cars, 7 TVs, 460 watches, and I have quite a bit of money in the bank too. So, I mean, you can still buy what makes you happy and kind of mind your own business. You know what I mean? So if somebody wants a Rolex or an AP, fine art, absolutely, good on you, but fuck off. I really don't give a shit what you like or how you think I should spend my money. That's, you buy what you like, I buy what I like, and I'm still able to acquire those same things that you've mentioned besides the Rolex AP and fine art. So ridiculous. It's just interesting how people just always seem to want to puke their opinions out on other people. Ultimately, at the end of the day, when it comes down to people, I can't afford a Rolex. Who told you I can't afford a Rolex? Nobody said that. Rolexes are a dime a dozen, dude. John, you're a fucking idiot, dude. You're gone too, man. Dumbass, dude. I got more money than you in the bank for sure. See you, John. Have a nice day. All right, so back to the review.
To myself,
Rolex clowns.
All right. Like, which one is it? Is it a push down? And then I'm thinking, well, if it's a push pin one, why is it expensive? What are they trying to pull? Is it just because it has, is it just because it attaches by these pins? I know there's a little thing here, I believe, if you push this button down.
So that's kind of cool. It looks like the bracelet has like a diver extension. It's like push button. I think it's a pretty nice bracelet, personally.
This will slide. I really don't want to slide it because, well, okay, I'll just show you. See how that slides?
That's pretty nice.
That'll help. So like this. There we go. Okay. So it's like, well, what exactly are they selling here? What, like, this United States company, right? What?
Well, one, it clearly states on their website that this watch is assembled in the United States. And so that, again, like with anything, it's just like with the crazy Rolex snobs out there who think that there is some insane quality difference with a Rolex over like an Invicta or a Bulva. It's what is Rolex selling? Rolex is selling the facade that there is this insane quality difference, that you can't get good quality without spending thousands of dollars on a watch. And what this company is selling is the idea that American made is somehow better, somehow made to higher standards. Now, there are things out there, absolutely, and this is where I say you got to take each product as it comes. There are things out there like, I'm just going to pick an example, like maybe American-made steel versus Chinese steel. There might be a different process. There might be different quality within certain categories, right? But when it comes to a watch, how does the watch snob explain when you have more and more people on YouTube doing up-close macro shots of affordable watches looking just as good and sometimes better than these extremely outrageously priced watches? It's just absolutely comical to me. It's like these folks who see evidence and they're just brainwashed into believing something that simply isn't true. And I think a lot of times they just, maybe they feel like they got duped by these luxury brands. Like maybe they know in their heart that these watches just aren't really what they're cracked up to be, so they have to defend it because they look stupid for spending all their money on a $20,000 stainless steel watch. It's absolutely incredible.
What are they selling? And I do a little digging around, and the bracelets are made in China.
Well, yeah, most things are made in China. I mean, go into any store nowadays, and it's hard to find anything that isn't made in China. You can just pick up a wrench, pick up anything. I mean, and the things coming out of China are great. And there seems to be this misconception that things made in China are bad. Most things are made in China nowadays. Whether that's good for the overall economy or good for the country, I mean, we're a country of consumers for the most part. We don't make a lot anymore. So we're not going to get into that discussion, but, the stuff coming out of China is great. I mean, they have the corner marketed on totally the corner, what's the word I'm looking for? They have the market just kind of owned for anything electronics based, right? And so everything you got, cell phones, TVs, I mean, it's all made in China. So you think that the Chinese can make a beautiful TV, right? Or an iPhone, and that somehow this 3-link stainless steel bracelet is difficult? Like, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous to even think that or even make that statement. It's just totally moronic.
Okay. So you got this great advertisement for this great watch, in my opinion, okay? It's got this sapphire glass right here. It's the way this thing turns around right here, it's so fucking nice. It's a hard turn, but it's a nice turn. It's not like I wouldn't call it crappy, okay?
I mean, every bezel's going to have a different action. Some bezels are going to be harder to turn. It just depends on how the manufacturer made the bezel. A lot of folks, I've heard this years ago, or some folks are like, oh, turn the bezel on a Rolex and you'll see the difference. I've turned the bezel on countless Rolexes. It's no better or worse than anything else in the $100 range. So, I don't really think that the bezel has anything to do with quality. Of course, if there's a lot of backplay in the machining, the tolerances aren't as good, then that can, again, determine the quality of manufacturing. But this is not rocket science. Most brands in the $150 price range have exceptional bezels. So,
it's nice. Like, everything about it to me was pretty nice, but the reason why you have this arrow here and the reason why these actually screw in is because it's coming from China. So
he's stating that the reason there's an arrow and screw-in pins holding each link in is because it's coming from China. Like that is something specific to Chinese bracelets. That's not the case. What I suspect on this is that, and just to be clear, like there is no difference in quality between a screw-in link pin or a push like friction pin, right? One is just easier, I guess, to size if you don't have the tools. Most people have a little screwdriver, right? They can size their watch. I actually prefer a friction pin. I feel like it's less problematic. But a lot of folks, there is a misconception that if you have a screw, it's somehow higher quality. Not the case. What I suspect is this company probably makes these bracelets for different people, different companies, and they probably make ones that don't have the screws. And so they have the arrow, that's the direction you'd normally push out that friction pin. I always call it like a cotter pin. It's not. It's like a friction pin. It's like a split pin. And so what? Like, so they may reuse those links and still have the arrow. Or what I also suspect is that sometimes these screw-in pins actually are designed to be pulled from one direction. So there's actually the screw head, and there's probably another one on the other side. You would hold one still, you would unscrew the other, and then you'd pull this way. And so that was going to leave a little, almost like a little, the other side of it, right? It's not, one is longer than the other. There's the shaft, and there's the other screw-in portion. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like this is making a big deal about nothing.
The Chinese are just using their same old, you know, whatever they have in the shop, and then these ones actually get the screws and, you know, whatever the smaller links, the smaller links all have this arrow. The Chinese aren't making smaller links without these arrows on it.
The Chinese are not making smaller links without these arrows. That's a pretty big overgeneralization. It's like somehow the Chinese can't seem to not make the link with the arrow. This is just an absolute ridiculous statement. And what's unfortunate too is the way he like throws the bracelet down. Like, it's like, imagine being the person who bought this watch for this guy and having him see him treat the purchase like that. I mean, that's the last. If I bought somebody a gift and this is how they reacted, that would be the last gift I ever got them. I mean, it's just absolutely disrespectful.
And to me, that really cheapens the watch up. If I'm going to show this to a friend and say, hey, check this out.
I don't know what kind of friends this guy has, but if I was showing my watch to my friend, anybody I've ever showed my watch to, they're always like, oh, that's really cool, or wow, I like that, I really like your watch. They're not looking for an arrow on the back and being like, oh, wait a minute, nice watch, but wait a minute, fat cat, it's got an arrow on there, man. And then suddenly, I'd be embarrassed. Like this is just unbelievable to me that a grown man thinks this way.
You know, how cool.
But as we've shown in this chat today with fools like John and Nick, we know how we can just see the lack of intelligence with people, right? We can just see the lack of critical thinking with people. Then the jealousy always makes me feel really good that people take the time out of their day to get on here and try to, you know, make comments to me. I actually find it kind of flattering. It's sad for those folks that they just don't have anything else going on in their life, you know, other than maybe video games in the basement, maybe pretending to own things. But again, I always say these folks should put up YouTube channels and show off your stuff, but they never seem to because they just don't have anything, you know. So
cool as this, it just kind of blows the whole process. I do really like it still. I definitely don't dislike it. Like when you latch this on, it's a tight fit. It's not like clicking and clanking. Let me get this on because like I said, it's a tight fit. It's a little tricky.
I mean, definitely struggling with it. I don't think it's really tricky. And I think having those little tabs help make this less tricky, but he seems to be struggling with this.
And then there we go. And then there we go. Does it click?
Good job. There.
You just have to. It's just a pain. But okay, so
Good
yeah,
work.
I mean, and look, that is so tight on there. It's not moving at all. It doesn't.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's almost like this guy's never picked up a watch besides a Rolex because, like, if you look at watches in the $100, $150 price range and up, like, generally the tolerances are great. Like, I mean, I got a Duxo right here. I mean, here we go. Like, take a look at this. Like, it fits nice and tight too. Like, these can be had for $150. So it's just bizarre to me that I just feel like this might be just a little bit of just maybe not knowing any better, a little bit being naive. But let's see where else he goes with this.
Doesn't budge. I mean,
I saw a little tolerance.
I don't
shake in
think,
there.
and
Not a big deal though.
look at that. That's. Are we looking good there? Yeah, looking pretty good there. Yeah, I mean, one thing I don't like is that date is a little hard to see. Maybe a bigger date window.
I mean, these are all like, you know, this isn't really, you're not really I mean, I can see that date just fine, right? And so, that's going to be something very subjective. Some people are going to like a watch that has a Cyclops. Some people are just going to like a standard date window. Totally subjective. Has nothing to do with quality.
But I don't really like this USA Assembled stuff they have right there. That really kind of upsets me. USA Assembled? For what? Okay.
So it probably upsets him because he misread, or he didn't bother to you look at the actual listing. It says USA Assembled, so people know it's assembled in USA. It's not made in the USA. No, this company's not claiming that. So just I don't know what is wrong with this guy, but it just seems like there's a lot of there's a problem with him either being able to read or just being able to I just don't understand it. If somebody buys something like this he was super excited about buying the watch because he thought it was made in the USA. So you would think, even if you found out, all right, maybe he misread, whatever, it's not made in the USA, but at least it says USA Assembled. Why would you not be happy about that? Why would that even be a complaint?
The case, but not the movement, and then the bracelet, and then you're yapping on the video on your advertisement, and you're flexing this bracelet the entire time.
That's not true. As we saw in the video, they showed the watch for a brief moment with the bracelet, but he was explaining the details of the watch, whatever he may have been saying. We didn't hear that, but he showed it on rubber straps. So I'm not sure how. I just don't know where this guy's coming from.
And then it doesn't even come with it when you get it in the case. That is one of the worst advertisements maybe I've ever seen for a wristwatch right there. Yeah, this thing is probably going to run until the end of time because you're using Japanese movement.
All right, so here is another thing. We've seen people like this in the past state that Rolex watches and Swiss-made watches you can hand down. They're super reliable. You could own them forever, right? And that anything Chinese-made, Japanese-made is dog shit, shitter watches. But now, in a new video, this video, now he's stating that this is going to run forever because it's a Japanese movement. So which is it? Is it Swiss-made is better or is Japanese better? Which has the better longevity? You get two different answers from these watch snobs. This is ridiculous. Let me come back to the chat. Bubba Jones, welcome, and BMF Hey, welcome. Bubba just said he bought a Sterile Explorer from AliExpress, $78. Freaking love it. Age 34 for the win. Yep, fantastic movement. No reason to waste money on a Rolex. They're nice, but not for me. Yeah, like I said, I buy what makes you happy. I would just never spend the money on something like that. I get equal enjoyment with this beautiful Duxo and Invicta on my wrist, whatever the case. There's just no reason. And then BMH said, not a watch snob, shows all his stuff. So much younger, yet more of a real man. I don't even know what he's talking about there. When you have a YouTube channel, the whole point is to review stuff. So, yeah, I'm not really sure. More of a real man. Good for you.
But it's USA Assembled, right? And believe it or not,
dude, and just so if you just now join this live feed, this watch was gifted to this gentleman, and he's throwing it around like it's a piece of dog shit. And how disrespectful to the person who actually bought him this watch. I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm not even done yet, okay? Check this out. The way this bracelet works, the most expensive bracelet they sell, okay? These two things are pushed out right now.
Those are called pushers.
By springs, right? If I push them in and let them go, springs make sure they're let go. You put them on the clasp, I usually hold them in, right? Now, this side, usually for me, not every time, but usually, it can get stuck. Now, if you're messing with it, playing with it, a lot of times if I'm sitting somewhere, messing, just playing somewhere, doing something, I'll take my watch off. I know a lot of people that do this. They take their watch off, they're messing around, they're doing something. This side will get jammed and stuck, and it'll just sit there jammed stuck. And then it's like a whole, disaster of trying to get it unstuck.
This guy's super dramatic.
Let's see if I can make it happen for you on camera. Let's see.
All right, so it appears to me like he's trying to force the button to get stuck. to me, it's not really good representation. He made it sound like there's like a defect in the push button on this bracelet, but like you're purposely trying to like nobody. You're not supposed to keep pushing on it without it actually being latched. Like you push on it to delatch it, and you don't have to press the buttons to latch it again. It's like a snap-on. Just interesting. You're trying to force it to get stuck. I think he does actually.
There it is. There it is. This
Right.
side. Okay? And look, there it is. It's stuck in. This is their premium bracelet. And this.
Their premium. All right, so he was able to get it stuck. And call this a disaster. I don't see how this is a disaster. I mean, if you're purposely trying to push the button with it not being latched to anything, like you could probably get stuck. Remember, these are not like. This is relatively an affordable bracelet, right? Now, I don't know how Rolex bracelets work or luxury watches, right? But, maybe that wouldn't happen. But, like, what is the big deal here? Like, what is the expectation? It just doesn't make any sense.
Side is already stuck in. Now, if you look.
Let me just catch up on the comments here. Brent just said, I enjoy always watch from cheaper to luxury. Yep, I'm with you, man. I have watches that, like, AliExpress specials, all iced out, basically cheap, really, really cheap watches that you can feel the quality difference. Not, again, like the argument they make about Rolex and Invicta, right? You can feel the quality difference. I still enjoy wearing them. Like, it's for $20, they're awesome, right? But then I have other watches that are like $2,000 Aqua Dive, right? It's a nice watch, no nicer than any other watch I have, right? And I enjoy wearing them all. They're all fun. That's the fun of collecting, right? It shouldn't be taken too seriously. Again, if somebody wants to buy a luxury brand because they are thinking like, all right, well, I've always wanted this, or whatever the reason, they don't need to explain it to me. Buy what makes you happy. But to think that you're getting something that's more accurate, false. You can buy a quartz watch that's more accurate for $1, right? I mean, if you're buying something you think is going to get your value back, yep, you might. And you might not, so if you're talking about this qualities can't be duplicated, and how do you explain people on YouTube like it's like I like watches showing you evidence, close-ups, showing the quality's not all there? How do you explain Chinese being able to make an $800 fake that fools Rolex ADs when they open the case back? So how do you explain those things? It's just the watch shop doesn't have an explanation. They just don't know. Their brains don't work that way. Brent said, interesting clasp. Everyone should buy what they like. Don't ask, don't show. Welcome. Wearing a watch, identical clasp right now from Notice. I don't have a Notice in my collection. I almost collaborated with them. They did reach out, but we never were able to make it happen. And then Brent said, well, to be fair, Omega C Mr. Claps are famous for getting stuck. That's absolutely true, right? And Bubba Jones, welcome back. I know you were still here. I thought I saw you drop off. It looks like a nice clasp. Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is a nice clasp. I mean, if you're going to purposely try to break something, I don't know. It's just... This is another case somebody just wants to nitpick the watch apart.
You can see that side is already stuck in the closure, because when I close this side, it's going to be kind of hard to tell here with the lighting. It's like it almost pushes it away. It's so bizarre. This is their premium bracelet that they're selling. It's over $100 to get this bracelet. And I got it because the way that guy sells it so hard. Because of course you get the bracelet with it, because...
All right, so just be clear, the guy doesn't sell it so hard. Like, he shows the watch on the rubber strap in the commercial, and they show a couple pictures of it on the metal bracelet. So I'm not sure... Man, this is like, it's honestly sad, man. Somebody like sees things that just aren't there.
Like I said earlier, it's advertised that you get the bracelet.
No, it's not. Again, folks, for you folks who maybe just popped in here, if we go to their website, this is how it's advertised right here. You choose your size, small or medium. You have the price. You have the picture of the watch. This one here is on the Jubilee. Then, of course, it says clearly free waterproof strap. Like, you can't unclick it. Like, that's what it comes on. You click it, it shows you a picture. And then you choose your custom strap. For $0 added, you get the khaki. You can get a different khaki with a quick release. And then everything else clearly shows you that you pay more for it. It's an addition. It's not included. So it's just amazing to me. Somebody, I just don't get it. I really don't.
So you thought I was done when I threw the watch across, right? No, look, and it's not that easy to get unstuck, right? Sometimes I can get it unstuck if I put it on and then mess with it. There we go. Now it's unstuck and it goes back to normal. So it's almost like you got to be careful with it. Yes, I know. It's complicated. You have a Rolex. Why do you have this thing? Well, you guys know I like collecting watches. I just thought it's something cool that I can have. And, you know, if it's going to be as nice.
All right, for argument's sake, remember, what is cool and likable is subjective. But to me, this watch is a dime a dozen. It's a generic homage to a Submariner. And I don't know if that's where the company was going. But, you know, nowadays, every watch that's round with a 3-link bracelet, people consider a homage, right? But it is very similar to a Submariner. There's nothing really cool about it. I mean, this can be had for watches like this with an NH35 for like $120. There's so many great brands you can pick up nice watches like this. I'm not sure why he got it, right? It was a gift, so but obviously there was some kind of conversation there in order for him to, for whoever bought this for him to be turned on to the watch is something he wanted.
Nice as it's advertised. I never have to worry about a battery. I don't have to worry about a service. I don't have to worry about all these things. And of course, the way they advertise it, I thought it was all USA assembled. But
it is. The way they advertise it, it's USA assembled, right? Here's as grown men, right? As adults, if you're going to make a purchase for something, you don't just go ahead and make assumptions and buy it and then complain about it. If you're going to buy a product and your main concern is that it's USA made, which is odd because most watch snobs want Swiss made. They don't want USA made. They're all about Swiss made. Chinese suck, Japanese suck, everything sucks but Swiss made, right? So why would one be so excited to get this watch when you thought that it was made in the USA, but yet now he admits that it's USA assembled. It is USA assembled. Now, how much of the watch is USA assembled? This to me is just another marketing, I don't want to say scheme, but there is a misconception that made in USA means it's made better. Not always the case. And if you're going to get something, let's say you want to support American workers. If that's your main goal in buying something, if you say that, hey, I'm a guy who wants to support USA companies, then you don't just go to their website, quickly glance through it, and just assume that you or misunderstand that USA assembled means USA assembled. Most people with any kind of common sense would look at that and say, all right, this is USA assembled. What does this mean? Let me email the company and find out specifically what does that mean, right? Where are the parts made? And generally, the word assembled means the parts are coming from somewhere else. They're not coming from the United States. So I don't know how anybody with any kind of common sense or a brain in their head could make this mistake. But the worst part about it is just getting on here and bashing the hell out of the watch, insulting the person who bought the watch for him, and then turning around and just acting like it's somebody else's mistake, you know?
But it's not. It's a USA case. Just this part. Just this part. Just this part. The inside is Japanese. The bracelet is Chinese, but you don't get the bracelet if you buy. You only get what you get in this box. The rest you get in this box, and that's Chinese. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's all I have to say to that is just wow. I mean, this is, again, folks, the epitome of the watch snob. Somebody who absolutely has no appreciation for the gift that somebody who cares about him bought him, to just absolutely cut the watch apart, and then to blame either the person buying the watch, well, he didn't necessarily do that, but, you know, throwing the watch around, showing that disappointment. That's the last gift I'd ever buy somebody who reacted like that. You know, and that's like, I just can't believe somebody with any kind of decency would react like that. But this is the problem with a lot of watch snobs. This is the problem that we have with a lot of people in this world. They just feel like that if you don't like what they like, that somehow you're wrong, or everybody, when a mistake is made, that's somebody else's problem. It's this delusional thinking. It's just recreating the facts. It's just, I'll never understand it, right? But ultimately, is this watch a decent watch, right? So I think for the price point on this watch, I think there are a lot of better options out there. It is cool that it's solar. I think that's a pretty nice addition. I like the fact that the watch face, it doesn't look like it's a solar watch. And some of the watches, Like even my Citizen, like when you look at the dials, awesome watch. My boy James Perez got me that. But if you know what you're looking at with watches, you can kind of see that the complications, the different dials are sort of like a solar panel. Even some of the ones I have by, it's another Dartmouth brand, I forget. I have like 3 other solar watches. And you can sort of tell because it just kind of has that solar panel kind of look. Like it's like a matte kind of finish, right? But I think this watch, it looks nice. It's your typical Submariner homage, we'll call it. Whether the company was going for that or not, only the company knows. I think USA Assembled, I think, is, again, trying to... I don't think it's dishonest. I don't think it's trying to manipulate anybody, but there are folks who, either are going to buy a watch because they feel like if it's USA made, you're supporting USA workers, or maybe this company is a USA company, so you are maybe supporting a company, and they're saying, hey, we assemble these watches, we have eyes on them, whatever. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it's a pretty expensive watch for what you're getting. I wouldn't buy it. I would review it, of course. Would I wear it? Absolutely. It's a nice looking watch, but it's a dime a dozen. There's so many other watches out there. He could have very easily have got a Pagani design with automatic movement. And here's the thing: when you're worried about when you spend $20,000 on a watch, like you're the person with money, right? The person who's whatever, I'm dropping cash on a watch. They don't really care if they service their watch. They wear it, they abuse it, they beat on it, they wear the hell out of it, and then if it breaks, they might bring it in and get it serviced. Now, I don't mean all people. There are some people who are meticulous on, maintenance and all that stuff, but a lot of people who buy watches they really can't afford are really animate about the maintenance because they're so worried about getting their money back out of it. They don't want to take a loss, right? So a lot of times they'll buy these, they'll brag about the fact they got a Rolex, but they're sitting in the watch box and they're just waiting to actually sell them so they can get their money back and recoup. Hopefully they do for their sake, but again, I just think that if you're buying a $150 watch, you're not really worried about, if you're worried about a battery, then bust buy an automatic. If you're a guy who likes automatic watches, which he does, he's got a Rolex, it's an automatic watch, then you buy another automatic watch. It's like a beater, right? And I hate saying that beater because I take care of all my watches, but you can buy a Pagani design for $100, right? Invicta Pro Diver, right? If you don't like Invicta name, you're like, I care about what people think. I don't want to wear an Invicta because you think it's beneath you. Then there's so many other brands you can get that, Duxo, whatever. And there's so many Seiko. There's so many brands out there that will get the respect from the other watch snobs. And you don't have to worry about a battery, right? So I just don't, it's just crazy to me you'd buy something just based on being solar, then cut it apart. I don't think it's a bad watch, but I think it's a little bit overpriced for what you're getting. Let me catch you on some comments here. We got a couple of new folks joining us. Too bad they got in here kind of late. A lot of the video is over here, but I'll talk for a little bit longer. Monk, welcome. He just said, or let me just catch up with Brent here. Brent just said they feel entitled. Absolutely. I think that once, and this is, again, there are lots of really nice people who wear Rolex watches too. We can't overgeneralize a group of people, but there are a lot of people who buy this and they think like they're somehow the watch has made them classy and sophisticated. It's just comical to me, right? And then they think that everything that's not a Rolex is beneath them, right? I'll tell you right now why a guy like this wants that watch is because he can get that Rolex look, and then he can keep his Rolex hidden in the dresser where hopefully he can get his money back because he's worried about getting his money back. And if you are worried about getting your money back, you didn't have the money to buy it in the first place, right? And so, but anyway, I don't think that watch is beneath me or him or anybody. It's a nice watch. It's just a little overpriced, but it was a gift. Why not react with a little bit of appreciation? But that's obviously not the watch snobs mentality. Monk just said Jack Mason assembles those smarter timer, hydro timer in USA. Those watches are solid. Yeah, man. I mean, Jack Mason is another brand who does assembly. Sometimes maybe a USA assembly. I think that the allure with USA assembly might be if you have a small kind of micro brand, mom and pop kind of shop or business, right? And you want to have your products made in China. Let's face it, you're going to have to compete with other brands, right? The watch world is flooded with brands. If you want to compete, you're going to need some kind of marketing tactic, right? And if you're going to say, well, our watches are made or assembled in USA, then you might be able to give people the illusion that, and it might be true too, don't get me wrong, that they're assembling them, they're looking them over. There's a little bit more eyes on them to make sure, that you're getting better quality control. That might be something somebody's willing to pay for. For me, it's not with a $150 watch, because ultimately at the end of the day, what do I talk about when it comes to check boxes and watches? It's number one, do you like it? If you like it, then move on to number two. Number two, what is it made out of? You don't need gold. You don't need 904. You need 316 stainless steel. That's the most logical option for a watch, right? It's stand the test time. It's corrosion resistant, right? I mean, unless you want gold, because like I got gold, right? I like gold rings, and these are meaningful to me, right? My rings, but again, I'm not saying don't buy gold. If you like gold, then spend 40 grand on a Rolex, right? But to me, you really only need 316 stainless steel. Here would be the argument. Let's just say somebody has gold or 904 stainless, and then everybody else, these other brands are 316. And as you wear 316, it starts to tarnish, it starts to corrode, you start to get surface rust on it. I could see why you might want to go with 904, right? But that's not the case. 316 is extremely corrosion resistant. And so what is the point? They call it manufacturer desire, where a company will manufacture a reason for you to spend more on this particular product when there isn't any real world advantage. And that's what I think they do with 904. Gold, totally different. If, you can afford gold, gold's pretty cool, right? Absolutely. But I just don't, I don't see any reason to have anything more than that. After that, that's like most of the watch. After that, the determination comes down to, do you like quartz or do you like automatic? I'm more of an automatic guy, but I'll still wear quartz, right? But if I have the choice, I'll always go with an automatic watch, just because I like the idea of not having to put a battery in it, right? You have a lot of watches, your battery's going to go out, then you're constantly replacing batteries. So I prefer the automatic. After that, we start looking at crystal, and then we start to nitpick. And so crystal, just because you have sapphire does not mean that Flame Fusion, K1, Cristerna, plain old glass is not scratch resistant. Go take a beer bottle and try to scratch it. It doesn't scratch too easy. So even if you have a very basic crystal, it's going to be scratch resistant. Is it the most scratch resistant? No. But you almost have to purposely scratch your watch for it to really be any kind of real world advantage. Again, you can buy watches with sapphire. 100 grand, you can buy watches with sapphire for $100. So it's not that big a deal. After that, you are really nitpicking the watch. I mean, starting to feel the crown. I mean, 400 plus watches. Every crown I have, Valjoux, Sellita, ETA, Quartz Ronda, whatever, the crowns always feel good. It's not like one is super gritty. It's like, oh my God, I'm having a hard time setting this watch. It just doesn't happen. So I just don't get it. Okay, Bubba just said, I agree, Fat Cat, the guy is a monster watch snob. This guy rips on a gift given to him. Who does that? Yeah, a watch snob, a pompous snob does that. Monk just said, Guinault also offers, I think I'm saying that right, one hell of a watch in the USA. Monk said, same with Notice. Adrian just said, agree, Bubba Jones, Vaer looks great. The guy's just rude, is a rude, ignorant git. Good manners cost nothing, absolutely. And then Don't Ask, Don't Show said assembled, in quotes. It's not the same as made. Yeah, how anybody can make that, like I see how like a little kid might make that mistake, right? But made in is most likely not made in USA, definitely not the parts. Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of there's lots of products out there that's made in USA, but a lot of the parts are outsourced, right? I mean, I can't speak 100% on our automotive industry, but I'm 99% certain if you get like an American-made car, some of those parts are coming from China. But don't quote me on that. I'm not privy to that information, but I would assume so. Adrian said, lots of people I've been watching for a fair bit of watch content on here, YouTube. Without a doubt, snobbery behavior is alive and well, both ends of the price points, affordability and luxury. Yeah, I think you definitely see it more with luxury brands, but we have I'm trying to think of. I don't know if there's anybody who's really. I've never come across anybody who's snobby about affordable brands, but I don't know, and I don't want to come across like I think you're an idiot if you buy a Rolex. I just want to be real with the fact that the quality difference is not what people who buy Rolexes want you to believe. Now, there are some, I've had them on this channel who will say, hey, I have Rolex, I have Omega, I have Invicta. There's not a lot of quality difference, right? So I don't want to overgeneralize any group of people. You have to take each person as they come. But ultimately, buy what you like, buy what makes you happy. But don't think that there's some insane quality difference, because there just isn't. And Brent just said, hey there at Monk, and Guinault is amazing quality for the money. Yeah, I mean, I can't really. That's the thing, when when you have so many watches, I've had my hands on so many watches. I own a lot of watches. I don't say that to brag. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, I own 460 watches. How many do you have? I'm telling you that just because I have a pretty good idea of what I've had my hands on and what you get for your money. And I can tell you that in my heart, I believe that brands decide to choose what they choose based on, one, where the watch is made, how many American workers they have, whether it's made Swiss or China. Labor rates in China are, super cheap, right? That's why you get products so cheap for the most part. And then what a company wants, what kind of, how a company wants to kind of, like the image they want their watches to have, I think is a big part. What demographic are they targeting? Are they looking to make affordable watches and target a demographic of people who are just looking for a nice watch, aren't going to nitpick a watch? Are they looking for the guy who is looking to spend a lot on a watch because it's bragging rights, right? Look at me, look at how much I spent. It's like a piece of expensive jewelry. So every company kind of comes into the watch market in different places, but at the end of the day, I just feel like the quality is all pretty similar across all brands. I got a buddy, I met him through YouTube, Mandy Lion. He's a very famous musician. He's played with Black Sabbath, I think, in Ozzy Osbourne and stuff. Check out his stuff. But he has a $600,000 RM, and he'll tell you, and he has the Invicta, and one of the Invictus, and he'll tell you that, yeah, the RM's pretty cool. It's made to be super lightweight with the very lightweight alloys, but the quality is not like insanely different compared to his, I think he's got the Invicta hybrid, right? And so the watch snob hates that. They hate real talk from people who own these products, so, it's just crazy. It's just nuts. I think a lot of times people too, when they, especially on YouTube, guys who are pushing this quality differences, this big difference, are guys who are selling Rolex, right? They have shops, they have stores, they are affiliated, right? And so that naturally they have to paint this picture that there's this insane difference. Otherwise, why would you spend your money? I think Rolex is a pretty amazing company because they were able to convince people to spend $20,000 on a stainless steel watch, which I think is pretty unbelievable, It is. They're marketing geniuses, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing. Adrian just said, I'm in New Zealand. Is AmeriQuartz USA made? I'm not sure, man. I've actually never even heard of that brand. Bubba just said, Fat Cat, I like your giant Invicta videos from 8 years ago. You got me addicted to them. Yeah, man, it's nice to hear that stuff. I still wear I got an Invicta on today. I rocked this last night. One of my favorite ones. This was did I buy this? I did buy this. Black Spinel, Sub Aqua Specialty. It is one of my favorites in my collection. And that's saying a lot because it's hard for me to choose a favorite. But I love the black stones. I overpaid for this. Absolutely. I paid close to $400 for it. Am I concerned with getting my money back? No, I'm never going to sell it. I like it, right? When I wear it, I get a lot of pride wearing it. I dig the stones. It's a very unique watch. And all that matters is how I feel about it, right? But I will tell you, Invictas get complicated, or not complicated, they get complimented all the time. All the other watches, they have to be unique. Like this Duxo, as cool as it is, I still wear it. Don't get me wrong, love the Duxo brand for these homage style watches. They give you great bang for buck, but nobody compliments this. Nobody notices it, right? Let's see. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Voice is getting a little hoarse here. Don't Ask just said, I'm iffy with Chinese homage brands, but reluctantly tried a Baltony for 120. It's pretty nice. Yeah, man, I'm curious about that. Why would you be reluctant to try a Chinese brand? I can assure you, the quality you get with Chinese watches is incredible, And I never like to use price as a deciding factor on when you buy a watch, right? Just because you pay $600 for a watch does not mean you're getting a watch of better quality than a $100 watch, right? We've seen that in the video by I Like Watches. We compared the San Martin with a Rolex, right? So again, you have to take each watch as it comes. But I think if most people just kind of stick to my check boxes, I like to call them, number 2, what is it made of? 316. Number 3, movement, and then number 3, crystal. Then if you can check the boxes there, you're gonna get a good quality watch. If you buy something that's made of brass, right? Now, I'm not saying a brass case. I have a pretty cool boulder that's brass. I dig it. Different material, right? But I'm saying if you buy something like where the whole bracelet is made of like a generic alloy, not 316, or something that's like a plated brass, it doesn't mean it's garbage, but you're not going to have that level of quality you get with 316 stainless steel, right? But those watches generally are in the like up to $50 price range for the most part. And it's pretty incredible. I mean, I have watches that cost $50 by Pagani Design, and the quality is unbelievable. So it is pretty impressive what they're making. And remember, we're not living 30 years ago where, watches coming out of China were, the modern machining was not there. Modern machining has come a long way, and they're producing things with a high level of accuracy and precision that just didn't happen back in the day. So let's see here. He just said he thinks Chinese watches rip off design aspects, save money on marketing. I don't know if it's necessarily. I don't know. But I don't think they rip off designs because to save money on marketing. I think it's because, let's face it, what is so special about a Rolex? I mean, what is so special about that design? It's a 3-link bracelet. It's a round case. I mean, what makes it? It's not unique. And so it seems like every single company that makes a watch that's round with a Cyclops and a 3-link bracelet, somehow it's a homage to a Rolex. And, it's not much to rip off, right? And so, again, it is a very popular watch. I'm not knocking it. I wear them often, right? These different homage watches. But, if you like the way a watch looks, I mean, most people, if they don't know anything about watches, is just going to look at a watch. They're not going to look at it and say, oh, that's a ripoff of a Rolex. I could see it. They're just going to be like, wow, it's a nice watch. That's about the end of the conversation. And so, I don't know. I don't think it's even something to really worry about. I think if you're looking for unique, if you're looking for unique, then you go with something like an Invicta or Aragon. But if you're looking but a lot of times people want unique, but then they're like, oh, that's gaudy or that's over the top. Like, you have to kind of go over the top if you want something unique, because everything does start to look like everything else. So, an original Chinese piece is fine, like a Seagull. Well, Seagull, yeah, I mean, I've never even seen Seagull watches. I know the Seagull movements. I'm sure they make watches, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything really overly, special about that. Wrist just said Rolex is without question a different level of watch from San Martin. Yeah, well, then how do you explain the video then? Like, obviously you haven't watched a side-by-side comparison video with high-resolution pictures. How do you explain the quality of a San Martin looking better under macro lens than the Rolex? Like, what, you have to have an explanation for that. Is the guy lying? Are you stating that the guy who did the video is somehow lying about those pictures? Then you should call him out on that, because I don't think he is. He's a pretty reputable watch channel, right? So I just find it kind of bizarre that when evidence is clearly displayed for a product, that people still continue to make excuses. I use the analogy when it comes to Rolex that it's like Rolex owners and fans are like battered housewives. They just constantly make excuses for their abuser, So again, I encourage you to watch the video by I Like Watches, where he compared the San Martin with a Rolex Submariner. And, it is up for debate, because it's very clear in that video that there is a difference in quality. And hands down, based on that video, the winner goes to San Martin. So, again, this is kind of people talking where I think they just think that, oh, Rolex, they don't even question the quality. They just are like, oh, it's Rolex, it's got to be better. Not even open for debate, when they've done nothing they have no evidence to support that. Like, there are, again, tons of videos out there now where, I mean, how do you explain that you can get an $800 a good quality, like whatever they call it, AAA or fake watch, right, by Rolex, right? How do you explain that companies are able to make a fake Rolex watch for $800 that is fooling ADs when they open the case back? How do you explain that? How do you explain how they can do that? If this Rolex watch is on this pillar of perfection and how amazing quality, you can't even compare it to a San Martin, then how are they able to make an $800 watch fool Rolex ADs? How is that possible? It should not be possible, but it is. So again, this is the evidence that the watch snob just cannot, they just refuse to just face the facts. All right, so let me come back to this here. Don't ask it. I agree, not a Rolex fan, but everyone values heritage brands differently. Yeah, as I've always said, you know, buy what makes you happy. But some say Rolex is a homage to a 50 Fathom. So, you know, heritage will be found in all different places, right? And I just, seriously, to me, that's just an excuse for people to be like, oh, Rolex has got heritage. Well, Invicta has heritage. It may not be the same company it was back in the day, but it's a very old name. So why do we make excuses for Rolex having heritage, but Invicta not having heritage, you know? And so it's just, again, it's constantly making excuses for the brands that they like, meanwhile trying to dump on other brands who just, let's face it, offer a far superior value. Let's see here. Bubba just said, I love gaudy. I do too. Ristful said, I've seen the video. It doesn't take into account that the SM316, SM316L and versus Rolex 90 steel. So you're saying that for $15,000, 90, it's not 906, by the way. It's 904. 904 stainless steel is so superior to 316 that qualifies that watch to cost, let's just pick a number, $10,000 more. That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd. If you look at what 904 versus 316 is, I believe it's a higher nickel content. So it's softer, which means it scratches easier, which in my opinion, they use it because it has the ability to be polished out easier for the pre-owned market. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but there is no real world advantage to 904 stainless steel compared to 316. There is an advantage in a corrosive category, right? If you're talking about corrosion resistance, here's the argument. If you wore 316 on your wrist and you took it off after wearing it for a couple weeks and you started to see it pitting, you started to see rust on it, you started to see corrosion, but you wore 904 and you didn't see that, I would totally agree that 904 is a superior alloy and that there is a real world advantage to having it. However, that's not the case. Both offer superior corrosion resistance. The 316 is not going to do that. So again, what is the point of having 904? Just so you can say, well, there's a higher nickel content and Rolex charged me $10,000 plus more for the watch, so somehow it's better. This is a manufacturer desire. There is no need to use 904. No need at all. If anything, I'd rather 316 because it's harder. And so, again, what is the point? I mean, again, quality, the accuracy of the movement. Okay, let's talk about that, right? Yeah, maybe the Rolex is more accurate, but by how much? Like, it's not like if you wear the San Martin, you're showing up to work late, right? But all these watches, no matter what you go with, has a level of accuracy that's pretty darn good. You can look at other videos on YouTube where guys have regulated an H35 to be within Rolex specifications. So again, I ask you, what is the point of spending more for the money, right? Maybe an H35 isn't as refined as a Rolex. I'm not arguing that it is, but what is the point of having a more accurate movement if you can pay a guy to regulate an H35 to have it be as accurate? Right? Or if your argument is that accuracy is the number one thing that, oh man, that's why I need to spend money, you can get a 99-cent quartz watch that's more accurate than the Rolex. So again, I ask you, what is the point? What is the point in spending thousands of dollars more for the Rolex? You're making the argument that it's about accuracy, but you don't have to spend that money to get accuracy. So nobody's saying that the NH35 is on the same level as Rolex, but if you regulate it, it's as accurate. And if the whole point of the movement is to tell time accurately, so if you regulate an 835 and save $10,000 doing so, and you have a movement that's almost as accurate, what is the point in spending all the money for the Rolex? This is just an argument. Your argument doesn't make any sense. Your argument is pure nonsense because you're making excuses for a brand charging so much when there is no real world advantage. There is no real world point in using 904. There is no real world advantage. If accuracy is your number one concern, you don't buy an automatic watch. You buy a quartz watch. So again, where is the nonsense coming from? Yeah, it puzzles me too. So I mean, just ridiculous. Ristful just said Invicta is no longer under same ownership. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Nor do I honestly care, because I'm not buying Invicta, and I haven't bought Invicta for quite some time. And when they come out with something that I want to add to my collection, I'll pick it up. But who owns it to me is irrelevant. I'm not buying a product because I'm worried about. And again, if you are, I'm not trying to say don't buy a Rolex. If you're into heritage and you're concerned with who owns it, that's between you and your wallet. But I don't give a shit who owns Invicta. I don't care. If they make a quality product and a watch that I like and going to enjoy wearing, then I'm going to buy it. For instance, this Invicta on my wrist is way more accurate than any Rolex ever made. Quartz Ronda movement. So, all right, should I pay $10,000 because my watch is more accurate than a Rolex? I mean, cat got your tongue. I'm not hearing any kind of rebuttal here. But it just doesn't make any sense to me why one would spend the money. But it's not up for me to decide who spends money on what. It's ultimately up to the person's, between him or her and their wallet, to spend that money on what they are going to find enjoyable, what they're going to have pride wearing, what's going to make them happy. For me personally, I'll close on this. This has been a great discussion. We've had some idiots in the chat today, but we've also had guys like Risful who've been pretty respectful, and it's always good to have a debate. Those folks are always welcome. And again, if you like Rolex, I'm not saying I don't like Rolex. I think I mentioned earlier in the video, there is a Rolex watch that's all encrusted by, it's called the Medusa, all encrusted in rubies, which I think is awesome. But it's 18,000. I would never. Again, where is your evidence? Now I got to come back at you. Chinese watches are okay; they're not made to the same quality. Where is the evidence? You're disregarding the video. You said you watched the video showcasing the high resolution pictures of the finishing of a San Martin compared to Rolex. If you can watch that and somehow think the Rolex is better based on that video, then you are crazy. You are delusional. I mean, it's very clear by that video. If the video, I'll give you this, if the video is 100% true and accurate, and we don't know that because I didn't record the video, right? And you didn't, we don't know, right? We'll give you that. But that's a Chinese watch. How is it better then? You're stating that it's not the same quality, but that video shows it's better. So it's hard for me to understand where your evidence, where your mindset is coming from when there's black and white evidence. And again, I don't dislike Rolex. If you don't like Rolex, that's totally fine. I'm not I like what you like. But the proof of the pudding is that Rolex is not what it's cracked up to be under macro lens. And their whole facade, what people like you believe is that they're somehow insanely better than Chinese watches. And that's not the case. Now, I'm not saying all Chinese watches, but San Martin, that's pretty clear, right? Not saying maybe not all San Martins, maybe that specific San Martin. I don't know. But what I'm telling you is that I don't dislike the brand. If I, wanted to drop $18,000 on a watch, it's a different company. They've encrusted the entire watch with, I know it's like blasphemy for the Rolex snob, but it's all done in rubies. And I think it's an awesome watch. It's definitely, it's one of those watches that's like, if I won the Powerball, right, and I could rationalize spending $18,000 on a watch, then that would definitely be my first splurge. But I'm not going to do that as a regular working man, right? Like, I'm not rich by any means. I work for my money. So, I just would never spend that. There's too many other things. I'd rather put the money in my bank account. I'd rather keep the money. Let me just rephrase that. I'd rather keep the money in my bank account, right? But winning the Powerball, pissing money away, $18,000 on a watch, absolutely, it would bring me a lot of enjoyment wearing that. But I don't like it because it's Rolex. I like it because it's encrusted with the rubies. So I don't dislike the brand. I just think that it's a brand that is really quite successful in convincing people that there is this insane quality difference with spending thousands of dollars on a watch. And I'm not buying it. I never will. I've seen too much evidence that's just not the case. So, and that's under macro lens. Like, to the naked eye, I mean, you can't, anybody who claims you can tell the difference is just not being honest. They just really aren't. So if you have a good quality watch, whether it came from China, Japan, United States, wherever, if you have a good quality watch, you have a good quality watch, and you don't have to spend $1,000. But at the end of the day, people should always buy what makes them happy, mind their own business, and, if you don't like Invicta, then don't buy an Invicta. If you don't like Pagani, don't buy a Pagani. You want the Rolex, the AP, and you can afford it, it's going to make you happy, buy those brands. But for me personally, I don't see the point, I don't see the quality, and I never will. Let's win the Powerball. So anyway, guys, thanks each and every one of you for popping in here. I think we really only had me and Wristful in here at the moment. But thanks for watching. Again, I'm going to do more of these videos like this, try to find, it won't always be watch related, but it's always good to get the discussion going and hear what you folks have to say. If I can help in any way, if you want to make a purchase on an affordable watch and I could give you a little bit of my 2 cents if I own it or whatnot, I'm always available. So you guys have a great day and take care.